Everyone please rise for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And just 1 second, just let's stand and say some thoughts and prayers for our soldiers in Iran who are in harm's way. All right, thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Welcome to the Wednesday, March 4th Town Board meeting.
Councilmember Bardini.
Present.
Councilmember Totino.
Present.
Councilmember Stula.
Present.
Supervisor Albert.
Here. We have 2 items for special consideration. We got one to accept an assignment of judgment in a litigation matter, and we got one for resolution for immediate review of electricity delivery charges. I'll present the motion to amend the agenda to include these two. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next up is acceptance of the regular board meeting February 18th. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next up is introduction of new employees. I think we have one lady, young lady. Hello. Good evening, welcome.
I'm very excited.
Speaking of Mike.
I'm very excited. Just pull it down. I'm very excited.
Oh,
It's not on.
She's excited. I'm very excited, actually. Very nervous. Hi, my name's Bria Velasquez. I'm very excited to be a part of this new team and being after-school counselor. Currently, I'm a senior at John Jay High School. I'm coming out of my 5th year of varsity track. And Lauren told me to speak about why I'm so excited for this position, but I was already excited because it feels like a full circle moment. When I first moved to Fishkill, I didn't have many friends and I was very young, and my dad works until 6, which was perfect because my district offered an after-school program. So from 2nd all the way to 6, I spent every day and all of my time after school at school with my counselors. And not only did I make new friends, but my counselors shared and made my experience so much better. And I remember their names and I remember them. And I actually keep in touch with some of my counselors, which is kind of weird, but they're really great. So,
All right, welcome.
thank you.
All right, thank you very much for coming. Good night. You don't have to stay, you can go home now. All right, next up is privilege of the floor for general town items. You can speak regarding anything about the town of Fishkill. Mr. Ashworth?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yep, so I'm Lance Ashworth, Chairman of the Friends of the Fishkill Supply Depot, historic preservation organization based in Fishkill. And I am appearing to follow up on information that I provided to the board in December of 2025 in relation to the burial ground that is located at the property that is presently proposed for development as the Continental Commons. You'll recall, Mr. Supervisor, that in December, I had mentioned that our group believed that there was no restrictive covenant attached to the development proposal for Continental Commons. And I wanted to clarify that. I wasn't sure if your attorney had researched it or not, but there is indeed a requirement for a restrictive covenant for the burial area. However, it attaches only after all construction is complete and a occupancy permit has been issued, which is to say that during the construction process, the burial area is exposed and in possible jeopardy of being disturbed or damaged. Now you might say, well, wouldn't it be silly for the developer to make a handshake agreement with the planning board to not touch the burial area during construction and then somehow disturb it? Well, we can only look to the record, the developer's record, in terms of whether or not there's a chance that this burial ground will be disturbed while it's unprotected. Well, we know that the developer has already failed to abide by the restrictive covenant that exists on the north end of the property. So I'm talking about the patch of land that's north of the gas station south of Snook Road, opposite the Van Wyck homestead. He hasn't abided by it because it stipulates that there should be no removal or destruction of large-sized trees, and I'm paraphrasing. This was a restrictive covenant that was instituted in August of 1998, and a simple drive by the north end of the property will reveal that there have been many trees that have been removed there in the past few years. So that's one restrictive covenant that's already been ignored. Two is that the developer emplaced a chain link fence with posts driven into the ground in the burials area. So already a culturally sensitive area where there are known grave shafts, the developer unilaterally put a chain link fence and driving posts into the ground. And as best as I can tell, there was no sort of clearance process done through the State Historic Preservation Office before the fence was erected. To our group, that's a blatant disregard of the cultural sensitivities of the area. And then lastly, ever since the onset of the Continental Commons development proposal, there have been some grading and things on the site. Each time the developer has used heavy equipment. And for those surface level and immediate subsurface level artifacts that are left over from the Continental Army's occupation during the Revolutionary War, there's a clear possibility of damage. Now, I don't have any proof of that, but I can tell you heavy machinery is very disruptive when it comes to those sorts of artifacts. Some other things you should know about the burial ground. At present, the burial ground, according to the schematics that have been submitted to the Town Planning Board through the Continental Commons process, measure the existing burial area as 0.25 acres. Now, several years ago, there was a ground penetrating radar examination that was done over a 0.4 acres area of the burial ground. And so you might consider 0.4 acres and 0.25 acres a small discrepancy, but when we're talking about burials and human life and potentially Revolutionary War soldiers, to me it's a big discrepancy. And so I call that to the town's attention, that in our view, the burial ground needs to be resolved in terms of 0.4 of an acre rather than a 1/4 acre. Additionally, I think you're all familiar with the property proposed for development as Continental Commons. It's somewhat L-shaped, right? Mm-hmm. So the upright of the L essentially abuts Route 9, and the leg of the L kind of runs along Van Wyck Lake Road in a northeasterly direction. So according to the developer, the burials area, which is in his view 0.25 acres, has been fully determined with regards to its size. But we want to point out that the base of the L, so the segment of the property that runs northeast along Van Wyck Lake Road, hemmed in by Rachel's Run, the creek, has never really been examined in earnest from an archaeological standpoint. And I can provide a map, a composite map provided that was created by Hunter Research that shows all the overlays of all the digs done throughout the years, some 15 or 20 digs. And you can clearly see on that portion of the property that there has been almost no archaeological examination, which is to say that if the burials area is restricted to south of the creek, then it's logical to believe that there's a potential for more burials along that northeastern portion of the property that has never been examined. And so what am I getting at? In short, as it comes to the burials area, and I know this is a topic the town is exploring in terms of whether it wishes to designate it a Revolutionary War burial ground, it is our position that only a comprehensive, long-term archaeological examination of the site, coupled with primary source research and DNA testing, is the only way to determine, in fact, whether this is a Revolutionary War burial ground or not. as well as the size of the burial ground. So let's talk about both the provenance and the size. It's only through a comprehensive dig, archival research, and DNA testing, so I'm talking about the exhuming of bodies, that we're going to know for certain, right? None of us were there during the Revolution. Overwhelmingly, the existing information points to it being a Revolutionary War burial ground, but these are the three methods that our group would suggest to the town if you move to, let's say, a designation as a Revolutionary War site, and then additional testing is called for.
Okay.
Now, I have a summation of my notes. I'd like to present those to you.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else?
Yes, stay, seriously. I want.
It's not a time for a debate, it's time for
How you
those to
just
the
lied
floor.
to everybody.
Mr. Ashworth, see you later.
Yeah. Okay. This is a shirt I'm going to have for Continental. My name is Dominic Broccoli. I'm the owner of the piece of land, Continental Commons, that he just lied to you about. So this is a shirt that I'm going to get is for Continental Commons. All right, this is from Mark Twain. And it says, "It's easier to fool people than to convince them that they were fooled." That's exactly what this gentleman did 2 seconds ago. All right, and I'll address now what he just said, which obviously he didn't want to stay to listen because he just lied. Restricted covenants, burial ground, he said it's 1/4 acre, it's 0.4 acres. I guess he missed some math classes. The L shape, there's no archaeology done, he's right, because we're not developing that section of the property. That's the residential portion of the property. And that's the portion of the property that back in 2013, when I met Mr. Ashworth, I was willing to donate the residential property so they could put whatever museum that they wanted to do at the time. And he refused it. He said, pointed his finger in my face. That's not enough. We want the whole 10 acres. And the reason he wanted the 10 acres is because Mr. Ashworth ceded the property with his organization. As far as the restricted covenants, we went through the proper channels, and the restricted covenant on the north side that he addressed, that he said we are going to build on, we had it subdivided, so it's no longer part of the gas station. So if you read the restricted covenant, it said as long as that is part of the gas station, you can't develop it. So we removed it from that. Now the purpose of that buffer, Ozzy, because I know you like laughing when I'm talking, but I'm being honest here. The reason that buffer was there is because the town was going to put the pumping station, and they wanted to move the gas station a little further away from what they call the cone of influence. God forbid there was a leak from the gas, and we abided by that, but they didn't officially own the property, so it was understood that that's the reason why they wanted us to put it there. Now, originally, the gas station was going to be on the corner, and we abided by the town's request. As far as the chain link fence, did you hear he said that we drove the chain link fence into the dirt? You heard that, right? We put stakes in the ground. Well, Mr. Ashworth is well aware that we did not do that. We put sandbags on the bottom. That's a construction fence, and there is no, so he just lied to everybody. This is what he does all the time. But anyhow, I'm going to address a few things. So the chain link fence was not dug into the ground, and he knows damn well it wasn't. Okay. Now, recently, Mr. Keith Riley was here last week, and he addressed the fact that I said, which I did, back in 2015, I talked about the fact that I was proud that I found the Soldier Cemetery, okay? Back then, I didn't know much about what was going on, and I had told you that I had an investigator that Mr. Ashworth, the FBI agent, recruited for his organization. I did not tell my investigator to join the group. he saw that he was very interested, and he recruited him. So, with that said, I started to get some information about the fact that what was in my report was a lie. I didn't have evidence that these people wrote my report, which I later got from different lawsuits. I wish Mr. Ash would come back, but I guess, okay. Now, recently, Mr. Riley said, okay, he spoke, and he talked about how I said, I talked about my property, and then he said, and I quote, "And they talked about the burial ground, and it's a mass burial ground. And there's stories about the burials across the street under the road, but nothing has been, a mass burial ground, nothing's been found, okay, about soldiers." Mr. Ashworth conveniently removed the fact that in that radio show interview, I was talking about the Paul Huey 1968 archaeological investigation. So that was the section of my speech, my interview, that was removed from his transcript of my speech. And now what I want to do is I want to explain to you that that's what they do all the time. So I'm going to give you some very interesting documents, okay, after I read this. Now, I'd like you to follow along, because in this article that they wrote, they talk about how I questioned the archaeological digs reports that were written. Okay, watch this. Okay, this is undeniable. You're going to see here, I'm going to read these archaeological digs, and you're going to see for yourself how they doctored them up.
Thank you, sir.
I had one for, should I leave this for
Sure.
Mr. White? All right. You don't have to read it, Ozzy, I'll explain. Now, when I had told you about the 2009 archaeological dig, first of all, what we're going to talk about is the mass burial that they removed from my speech. Now, if you read the 1968 Paul Huey archaeological investigation, it states here, the testing in this area southwest of the Texaco station across from the Van Wyck homestead, it was on the west side of Route 9, is where to locate, if possible, the human burial area. The caption of this is called the mass burial. Okay, you see that? Now, the Paul Huey study has a map, and in that map, they show the area where they're looking for the mass burial. This is in the 1968, okay. It says, the conclusion of that dig, it says, more unlikely that this place, when space was, in other words, it's more unlikely that they would bury mass burials across the street from the Van Wyck homestead on the west side of Route 9, okay, because land was very scarce and it would be used, it's unlikely it would be used as a burial ground, a mass burial ground. Okay, now, the 2009 report that I found out was co-authored by Bill Sandy, who was a member of the Friends of the Fishkill Supply Depot. He was the archaeologist that worked for the firm that found the graves, okay? And at the time, he said to me, and I showed you that document, that it was likely a family burial because it was too close to the barracks. And they never found any evidence of that being a soldier. Now, if you read the 2009 report, which is what I was going by in my radio interview, all right, that says overview of previous investigations. This is regarding my property. And then it says 11 archaeological reports have completed on this parcel. So they're regarding this summary is about my property. And then it says they talk about Paul Huey in 1968, and he investigates a mass burial. He did not investigate a mass burial on my property. They doctored up this report. It was done across the street. Now, regarding his Hunter report that he talks about so much, in the Hunter report, they wrote about the 1968 Paul Huey dig. Although not reported in the letter, Huey later stated that the excavators found depression through test borings further away from the road, southwest of what they thought was a Revolutionary period mass burial. No specifics about the details and whatever. They wrote southwest in the Hunter report. They removed southwest of the Texaco station opposite the Van Wyck homestead, because on my property, the burial ground is on the southwest corner. So this is part of the deception, you understand? They removed words from different archaeological reports. That's why he left, because he didn't want to hear this. So that's what they did. Now, the Hunter report did exactly the same thing they did to me with the Maya Cafe. Now, the Maya Cafe is a restaurant that's south of the burial ground, south of my property, on the opposite corner. In 2010, the Maya Cafe did an archaeological monitoring of a septic system. The Friends of the Fishkill Supply Depot, Marty Beister told me that he contacted the SHPO, and they wanted them to monitor the excavation of these trenches at the Maya Cafe. At the end of that excavation, you'll see that report here in front of you on the third or fourth page here, and it says, no features, burials, grave shafts, or human remains were found, and construction was allowed to continue. That's what the actual report says. Now we'll talk about the Hunter report. That Mr. Ashworth was the director, and Mr. Sandy was the consultant, and your town historian was part of that investigation because he was a member of the organization at the time. Now, if you look at the next page, it shows that there were two trenches, one on the north side of Maya Cafe and one at the base of the mountain on the south side. That's where they were dug. There's photos to back my proof of that. This is from the original report. Now we're going to talk about the Hunter report. If you look at the Hunter report, it says an undocumented source reported human remains were identified in a utility trench that was excavated at the Maya Cafe. This is talking about the 2010 dig, okay? I don't know if this is on. Okay, this parking lot is situated immediately south. So now they planted bones in a trench at the Maya Cafe that did not exist. And they're basically quoting this 2010 archaeological dig. And instead of there being two trenches, which is what actually took place, one at the base of the mountain and one on the north side of the property, they placed one trench along Route 9. So they placed it on the west. So the actual dig had two, north and south. They placed it west, and they said that that is definitive evidence that the burial ground on my property goes under the road onto the Maya Cafe. Total lie, okay? And that's in black and white, so you can't deny it. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is this article that he wrote. Okay. Did you read the article, Ozzy? Ozzy, is he awake?
What, Don?
Oh, did you read the article that they
know,
spoke
Don.
about? Okay, I want to give it to you, because it was an article about the event, that our last meeting. Okay, this was in the Highland Current. Am I quoting you? Yes.
Listen, the question is simple.
Yeah.
Prove that it's a family plot.
No, I'm trying to
You
prove.
see, no, you're proving nothing.
No, I'm proving that.
You go back to the podium, you can filibuster all you want, you have that opportunity.
No, but I'm trying to prove to
Provide me
you.
proof, you're saying this place is somewhere else?
No, what I'm trying to prove is
with your problem.
the Hunter report that they're saying that you have evidence of. They're saying that this is, evidence that the burial ground is on my property based on the Hunter report. I'm proving to you the Hunter report is doctored up, okay? So that knocks the Hunter report out. This report was given to the town. It was part of an Article 78 that Mr. Ashworth filed with against the town. The courts found that the Hunter report obviously was not truthful regarding the burial ground, otherwise they would have honored it, am I correct? Then they appealed it, and they still lost that lawsuit. Yes. Now, you remember last week when he came up with all these documents, Mr. Riley came up with all these documents, and he was saying that this is evidence the burial ground's on the property. He quoted an 1890, whatever, he quoted different documents. Not one of those documents is in the Hunter report. So even Hunter knew that at the base of the mountain, where the road turns to the east, the black chestnut trees or whatever they are, none of that information. They don't even quote in the Hunter report the Butterfield speech from the DAR. None of that is in the Hunter report. So if that's supposed to be evidence, even Hunter didn't buy into it. So now, what Mr. Ashworth said in this interview is he talked about that. Now, I just want to bring up a couple of things, and I'm going to cut this short. Do you remember, Ozzy, when they talked about there were burials on the north side of the property? And they said there was burials, and they had people go on my property and dig. You were at the Schumer event, remember in 2009?
Yes, I remember at the Schumer event,
Okay.
there was the open grave.
Yes.
Senator Schumer asked, what would it cost to take care of this property? And you shouted out $5.6 million.
So that wasn't me.
You have no respect for the
Okay.
dead, whether they were a family dead or a Revolutionary
Could I
War
say
dead.
something?
I remember that. You
All
show
right.
total disrespect for the dead.
All right, now could I say something? See,
say
now
what you want. You can
you
talk for
just,
10 minutes.
you just lied, because I didn't say that.
Then who
You
said
know
it?
who said it?
Who?
Steve Lynch said that. You want proof? I have the video.
It was said.
That was said by Steve Lynch, so you just lied. You said I said it. I didn't say, you just lied. You said I said it. I didn't say
It was
that.
with you.
What?
It was next to you.
Yeah, you were standing right next to me.
Yep.
Now, at that meeting, Mr. Mackey said to Schumer, okay, this is what he said. He said the burial ground is just a small part of this, and then he said, he said, the burial is a small part of this. He says the north side has remains, not human remains, remains of buildings. Okay. But then in 2011, okay? All right, let me hand this to you, because it is getting confusing, and I'm not going to say it isn't. All right.
There's nothing confusing about this.
It is very confusing.
The town is seeking information, whether it's a family plot
No,
or a war
I
plot.
understand,
That's
and
all
I
we're asking
appreciate
for.
that you're asking for information, Ozzy. I just would like you to read it. I mean, I know you didn't.
As soon as you show me something that's a family plot, I will read it.
Okay. So you don't have to prove that it's a soldier's cemetery, right? Is that what you're saying?
You made a statement.
No, I'm going to stand by it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, the JMA, this was the letter that Doug Mackey sent my partner, and he CC'd the planning board, the town board. Now, that was dated April 8th, 2009. Doug Mackey, who is affiliated with this group, okay, he suggested that the GPR, okay, suggested that there's hundreds of burials, okay? In 2014, Bill Sandy reached out to Bruce Bevan regarding that GPR study. And Bruce Bevan, who's a GPR expert, said to Bill Sandy in this, radar is generally reliable for delineating the boundaries of a burial and not counting the graves, and that's the reason this GPR was done. So Bill Sandy was well aware in 2014 that GPR study was done to delineate the burial ground. It was not done to count. Now, Mr. Ashworth and Mr. Sandy say this, the GPR detected 320 bodies. Not true. So this is a report that was sent to Bill Sandy. This report was not part of the Hunter report, for obvious reasons. In 2015, Bill Sandy contacts Tim Lloyd from SHPO. He took over from Doug Mackey after they fired Doug Mackey. They didn't fire him, they just told him, you better leave, and he left. And he too says, the goal of the GPR was to find the burial ground delineation, not to count individual graves. So now two people are telling, professionals. And now in 2015, this is Bill Sandy contacts Bruce Bevan. And he says, the site is sometimes called a mass burial, although there is little evidence of that yet. And then we go to the Hunter report. Okay, now, in 2015, John Bonafide, who is the director of SHPO, said, and I quote, Mr. Mackey's comments, he's regarding that letter where he said that Keith Riley said that Mackey said there were hundreds of graves based on the GPR, suggested. Mr. Mackey's comment above may have resulted from the misinterpretation of the GPR study. So that wipes that out, but they continue to do that. Now, during the time of these letters, Bill Sandy and the friends were writing the Hunter report, okay? The Hunter report says that the GPR detected hundreds of graves, and therefore it's the largest revolutionary cemetery in the country. So at the time, they were told that that GPR did not do it, they disregarded it, and they still claim that the Hunter report claims that there's hundreds of bodies. Now, if you look at this photo here, the Hunter report talks about how it suggests that you could dig up the burials because there's more beneath the ground. This photo is Mr. Lance Ashworth, who just left in a fury, okay, standing at the burial that I accused him of digging up and planting Revolutionary War artifacts on a dead body. Mr. Ashworth, I've said this multiple times. If somebody accused me of digging up a dead body, I'd sue his butt off, right? He's yet to comment about that. Now, he's here. I said that at the last meeting. You don't think that the guy would have said something, Mr. Broccoli, I object to what you said? He's not going to say it because it's true. Now, this is the good part of the Hunter report. It says here that the traces of the Continental Stable and Storehouse, as well as other relative features and artifacts likely still exist between the Race Run, which is the creek, and the Van Wyck homestead. This is really good. Resources may be anticipated that stretch 400 to 500 feet east of Route 9, the greatest concentration of material most likely to occur 250 feet from the highway margin. If you look at these photos, in 2010, that's exactly where these people dug fake graves, and you could see a Boy Scout posing in front of one of the fake graves, and Mr. Ashworth is digging around the ruins. So Hunter is suggesting to look in the areas where the Friends of the Fishkill Supply Depot ceded my property. You understand? Now there's an article related to it, and if you see next to it, there's an email from Mr. Ashworth to his members. Mr. Ashworth sends out an email regarding the event that they did this on the north side of the place. He's inviting people to cover up the graves once and for all. That event took place on the north side of my property. There were no graves on the north side of my property. You were there when Mr. Mackey even said, on the north side are no human remains. You understand? So after these people ceded my property on the north side and dug these fake graves, Mr. Mackey then told my archaeologist, go look for graves on the north side. It was a setup. Mr. Mackey was part of the setup. You understand? I'll answer any question you have, Mr. Oliver.
Nope. You spoke for 25 minutes.
Yeah,
Anything else?
and I appreciate that. Thank you
Listen,
very
I
much.
appreciate you showing me some proof that it's a Van Wyck family
I'm
cemetery.
showing you proof that these people lied to you. These people lied in reports.
That there's-
They misrepresented reports. None of that is true. Why do I feel that it's a cemetery of Van Wyck Family Cemetery? I'm going to tell you why. Number one, the lower barracks, which is at the border of Putnam Valley, you know where the lower barracks, you know where the redoubts are? The redoubts were the location of the lower barracks. That barrack was built on the east and on the west side of Route 9. The upper barrack was only built on the west side of Route 9. Why? Because in my opinion, they didn't build on the east and west because there was a family burial ground at the time, because there are Van Wyck family members that passed away before the revolution that they did not find. Now, I remember you said to me, Greg, I'm sorry, that these people are buried at the cemeteries. There's other known cemeteries. Yeah, don't address me, but I'm just telling you what you said. But there are Van Wyck family members, and they all had the same name, so it is a little confusing. Number two, no artifacts, Ozzy, were discovered in those graves. And the grave, the body that we found, was in what appeared to be at one time, because they found nails in a coffin, and they didn't bury the soldiers in coffins. And that's what Mr. Sandy said to me, because they buried him in mass graves. As I told you, Rumbout Cemetery, mass burials, and the GPR expert who was here said that you could see bodies on top of bodies, the way she detected. And she said there were multiple mass burial areas. And she said that above one of them was a monument, a tombstone of a soldier. Now, I've discussed all these things with you, okay? Go ahead. You have something to say? No, I just wanted to say, I've discussed the archaeology at meetings we had in December of 2000. Could I ask you one question, Ozzy?
No.
When I met you in 2015, it was the first meeting we had.
Listen, you asked a question, I said no, and you
Okay.
continue. Why don't you just...
All right, I'm not going to ask you a question.
25 minutes of
All right,
speaking.
I'm just going to,
You still
let's
haven't-
reminisce.
no-
We'll call it reminiscing. When I first
I'm not
started,
reminiscing.
you said to me, when the friends were yelling at me at my first meeting, I'll never forget, you kind of embraced me and you said, Mr. Broccoli, I like your project. And you yelled at them and you said, hey, the man has a right to develop his property, and I like his project. Did you, or did you not say that?
My concern here is about the
but you
Revolutionary War burial ground.
Right, no,
That's
no,
what
I
this-
understand.
You're
But you went
you're
from-
doing all these little sideshows.
No,
and
I'm not putting a
we only
sideshow
did-
on,
yeah,
I'm
you
being
are.
honest with you.
No, you're not.
Yeah, what do you mean I'm not being honest? What's
Listen,
not,
30 minutes you've been speaking.
no, I don't think it was 30. It was a while, though, I will
Yeah.
give you that
Keep
credit.
speaking.
Thank you.
22 minutes?
All right,
26 minutes.
all right. So she timed me. All right. Okay. I'm going to give you this also. I remember seeing Marty Beister. I turned it to Marty Beister. Imagine this. All right. All right. You want me to throw this away, or are you going to keep it?
I'm going to keep all the records of everything,
Thank you.
and everything will be documented properly. I'm very interested.
No, I am glad you're interested, Ozzy, and I think that I took up too much of your time, and I do appreciate you allowing me to speak, even though you don't really pay attention to what I'm saying, but at least you gave me the privilege to speak here. So you want me to order one of these shirts for you?
Nope.
Seriously? Because it's true. What do they say, a lie gets around the world, halfway around the world before the truth has a chance to put its pants on. That's very true, that saying. And I've been trying to put my pants on for quite a while here. But anyhow, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thanks.
Have a good day. Ms. Daniele?
Louise Daniele, resident of over 30 years. Just to say, if I made a T-shirt, my T-shirt would say, pay up when you lose a court case so the town can get repaid. That's what my T-shirt would say. And I wish I was wearing it now so that everybody could see it and we could get repaid. A couple other things. I just want to thank the Highway Department of Buildings and Grounds for once again doing a great job. The guys came and they opened up the roads by snow blowing near their mailboxes and along the roadside too. So once again, they did a great job, and I'm pretty sure everybody appreciates all the workers and Carmine for leading them all. I didn't hear what you said at the beginning of the meeting. and it wasn't in the agenda packet. So for transparency, I would ask that you read the two things fully that are added to the agenda so the public can know what
Okay.
they are.
First one will be a resolution to immediate review of the electric delivery charges. And the second one will be the town board to accept assignment of judgment in a litigation manner. The town board is going to vote to assign Mr. Nugent, our town attorney, to recover the monies that Mr. Broccoli needs to pay the town.
Thank you. So the agreement that's going to be signed tonight is to try and recover the money that Mr. Broccoli failed to pay me, and the money was given to me by the town. So
Correct.
hopefully the town can recoup it. It's a shame we have to waste more money on our attorney, and the developer or the person who lost the lawsuit doesn't just pay up as he should.
Correct.
Since he lost a lawsuit and he lost a slap suit. So that would be nice. That's about it. I hope he pays up soon.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else like to speak? All right, so I'm going to go right to supervisor comments. So tonight you saw two people speak for about 40 minutes regarding a burial ground. It's clear that there is a burial ground. One side claims it's a Revolutionary War burial ground, one side claims it's a family plot. One side shows some type of proof that it's this, the other side shows that it could be here, there, or there, and offers no proof that it's a family plot. So I thank the developer for coming in. I have his information, we're going to review it. I urge any other resident anybody in the United States has that information, whether it's a family burial ground or a Revolutionary War burial ground, to get me that information at supervisor@fishkill-ny.gov. I'm going to prepare a presentation and a resolution to either say it is or not a Revolutionary burial ground or a family plot. And I still need some more evidence for one side or the other. We have not decided the date, but I plan on doing it in the first meeting of May to resolve this once and for all. So that's where we're at with that. I just want to say one thing that the developer said, and this is going to be important, is that at the 734 mark, he said the Van Wyck family was buried before the Revolutionary War. I think that's an important comment. That's going to have ramifications to what we decide to do at the town board level. Second, if you got our e-govs tonight at 6 o'clock, the town of Fishkill is beginning its 250th anniversary of the Revolutionary War, the Declaration of Independence. There's 25,000 people that live in the town, about 9,500 dwellings. In the last 2 days, the Highway Department and Buildings and Grounds and other community members have been delivering these hand by hand to the residents of the town of Fishkill. It's our passport that we've been talking about. It's our first salvo into our celebration of America 250. Please review it, complete as much as you can. You don't have to do everything. The objective is to bring community pride, bring you guys together and realize how great of a town, loaded with history that we are. You complete it, you get a pin. It's a beautiful pin. I'm wearing it on my lapel right here. It's high quality. It's an incentive to get you to learn your community, because a lot of people don't even know they live in the town of Fishkill. They have Beacon mail addresses, Wappinger mail addresses. It's kind of confusing. But if you got this at your door, you're a resident of the town of Fishkill. That's just our first phase in the town of Fishkill, our celebration. Our next one will be June 5th at Heritage Financial Park. We're working in cooperation with them to have a big celebration Friday, June 5th from 6 to 9. Toward the end of the program, we're going to read the Declaration of Independence, have a musket volley and a great fireworks display. Free parking, free fireworks, the concession stands will be open. And then later on in the year, we're going to do a monument to John Bailey. He was a Fishkill patriot, a member of the Committee of Safety, and he forged George Washington's sword as depicted in the crossing of the Delaware right here about maybe a quarter mile away from Town Hall. And we're going to put that in between the police station and the Recreation Department. So the town of Fishkill is heavily invested in the celebration of the 250th. Every resident should be proud that they live in the town of Fishkill. I wish more business owners had pride in our community and our history, but we're doing a heck of a job. We're doing more than counties. We're doing more than a lot of municipalities, and we want you to participate in this. I thank my board members, past and present, for getting this operation going. This took about 4 or 5 years to figure this stuff out. The employees who put this stuff together, the residents, the senior centers who put the packets together, It's going to be a great event, and we want you to participate. That's all I have. Councilwoman Bardini.
Nothing right now.
Greg?
Just want to, once again, give a shout out to the fantastic work done by our highway department during the second major winter storm of the year. This one was truly a blizzard, and it came pretty suddenly. We went from expecting maybe a few inches of snow to getting well over a foot. So thank you to Carmine and to everybody from the highway department for a fantastic job. I'd also like to take a moment to salute among the many agencies involved, our town police department for an incident involving an individual with a knife at one of our local stores over the weekend. I'm very glad to know that no one was injured, and the situation was handled professionally and safely to keep both our residents and visitors to our town safe. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Greg. Councilman?
Just as a newcomer to the board, I know how much work putting together that passport must have been for all the people that work in the town and for the former board. And I just want to compliment, I think it's a great idea. I'm going to have my grandkids up here, and we're going to see how many of those we can hit.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. After the meeting, I'd like to give you your allotted sums for all of you guys. You too, Cooper. You're going to do some too, right? Like I said, we got 9,500. We did 65. We got 3,000 left. Okay. Let's start rocking and rolling here. There's no presentations, discussion. Little Red Schoolhouse property. I know, Brian, you were involved and not involved. Do you have any updates? Are we up to speed with this with you?
We are up to speed, but there's no update. We had reached out to DEC on it, was the last contact. Supposedly they owned it or had ownership, and we haven't heard back from them. So
Okay.
we're going to keep trying to push through them to get somebody who's got authority to speak on it.
Would you like to do a follow-up within a month or
Yeah, you can put it on if you want. I would say in a month. So we can
April
have-
1st meeting?
April 1st meeting.
And maybe get an update from the town attorney.
Supervisor,
First, isn't it? Yeah.
I want to say that when I first got wind of this idea, I
What
did a
idea?
very informal poll around my neighborhood, since that is the area I live in.
Speaking of Mike.
And I will tell you, the response was 100% very favorable to taking over that property and doing what you plan on doing, so.
Well, what I plan on doing is acquiring the land, hopefully for $1, then by process of volunteers, getting the Little Red Schoolhouse replicated. It wasn't big. It was only the size of an average two-car garage. And for almost 100 years, one lady taught first to ninth grade, all cramped into that one little school. So it's not an expensive endeavor, but those are my plans, because it's probably going to be 10 years down the road, but we got to acquire the land first. And there's quite a few things you're going to see what I'm going to be doing in the next couple months toward next year. I'm going to start laying seeds for the town of Fishkill for 10, 15, 20 years down the road. Let's get us in the right direction. Let's acquire things. Let's put us in there. And the Little Red Schoolhouse is one of those items where once we secure the land, future town boards can decide whether volunteers do it or the town board does it. We have an asset that will promote the area. So the waterfront in Fishkill, the Texaco, the downstate, all these things, the two mines on Route 9 by the Putnam County border. So I'm trying to lay out a nice path for Fishkill for the next 50 years. So that's what I'm going to be up to. Okay. So the next step up is 100 grand for road salt. Everybody knows, going through it like crazy. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Next up, discussion of resolution amending the town handbook, section 15, concerning information technology access and credential transaction policy. Brian, some of the employees had questions of, when they read the resolution, they weren't clear on it. Could you just give us an explanation?
Basically, this is a policy to address separation of service situations, ideally when there's people that have access to services as town employees and town officials that you need to make sure you have access to when they're leaving their particular employment. And so this addresses that process. It includes provisions. Sometimes people use their personal passwords, for town-related products. So we don't require them to give us their passwords, but to make sure there's a reset and that somebody in the town has control over the software, whether it be software, online services, whatever it is. It's just to make sure that there's a policy for the town to recover and have access to those things before somebody leaves their position.
You guys understand that?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Next up is discussion to reauthorize the Dutchess County Shared Services, big program for the Drug Task Force. Everybody okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
Next up, discussion of a not blocking the roadway between Old Lenham Road and the Route 52 Sunoco gas station. So Brian, when you leave here, you make that quick left and you see the Sunoco and that other road that comes right into that. You're not here during traffic hours, but it's slammed 4 to 6:30. So people coming in can't make the left in there because they're blocking the roadway. Can we vote, can you prepare a resolution to allow you to ask the state, like we did before with the other thing? Can we do the same thing with this one?
What are you looking to do?
Don't block the road.
What, a sign or?
I like the stripes on the ground.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
got
say like
one on-
a
I got
don't
one on
block the
Chia-
box kind of thing?
Don't block the box,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I got one on Chia Party, I got one on Wheaton, I got denied one on Heath. Where?
Cheer party.
Chia Party, I got that one they gave me. But can you?
Van Ness.
No, that was across the street from Van, yeah, we got Van Ness too, yes, we got Van Ness. So we're 3 for 4 in getting these box things. So I'd like to try to get one right here in front of the Sunoco station. You'll see it when you leave.
Yeah, okay.
You'll see, you can imagine people coming from 84 trying to make that left, you can't move if it's a line past Town Hall. So it's backing them up and it gets all screwed up.
Okay, so you want to request DOT
I want to do a
kind of tell them the
resolution.
problem and see what our options are
Yeah,
to
so I'd like
address
to-
it.
yeah.
But I'll
Well-
explain you would like to have the
Block.
pavement marking.
That'll be good. Can you do that next meeting? Is that too much or is that?
Well, I can send a request and then we'll see, but I would put it on for next meeting and hopefully we'll have a response.
Cooper, discussion item? Just keep it on there, just move it on there. Thank you, sir. Next up, discussion of resolution to hire the staff. The young lady was here. Everybody okay with that? Next up is discussion to amend the rules of the town board. Basically, I don't understand why there's confusion out there in the public. We actually have been operating this way since I've been here, and we didn't change the old rules, which call for 3 minutes of speaking and toward the middle of the meeting one time. We're just codifying that, right, Mr. Nugent?
Yeah, I mean, there's some amendments that we talked about last time, but, and we realized some of your existing rules, for example, didn't reflect your order of business.
Yep.
And we made some other, changes, nothing that significant. Some of them were just being in line with open meetings laws, the notice for meetings, if it's scheduled more than a week in advance for a special meeting, we incorporated that. So, yeah, otherwise, it's largely the rules the town board already had in place. And then I think you may have seen some comments, which I responded to from Councilman Rye. They weren't anything earth-shattering that we couldn't address, or he wanted examples or things, So, about emergencies, for example, if you were going to cancel a meeting.
Yep.
Besides whether it said other situations. So I had kind of said to him, well, we could put in, for example, power outages, fire at the town hall,
Yeah.
other emergencies that you would cancel a meeting for. But yeah, I think other than that, these are more or less the rules you're operating under and have been operating under.
Yeah. Everybody okay?
Yeah.
All right. Next up is to approve the performance bond for the medical park. That's the two building complex off of Snook Road. Going ahead pretty good. Any questions about that?
No, just perhaps remind the residents what the performance bond does and why it's been implemented.
You were my secretary?
All right.
Give them the update.
The performance bond is an initiative which I do believe Mr. Nugent assisted us with during his first stint as our town attorney. And the premise of it is to protect the quality of life of Fishkill residents while development projects are taking place. Obviously, these can be very expensive and very extensive. And as a result of that, the phases of construction can take a long time, and it's possible that a project that gets started may not get finished. In order to make sure that
For example.
By Route 82 and Route 52, for the past several years, residents have been dealing with something of a major eyesore due to a construction project which began and then was unfortunately abandoned. The town never wants to be in a position where it is powerless to remediate that situation in the future. So for these types of larger commercial construction, developers are required to supply the town with a performance bond and an amount of money determined by our town engineer to be sufficient for the town to remediate the site if the project is commenced but not completed. So This was introduced a few years ago. Supervisor Albert and I, as his secretary, were behind this, and it has been pretty much 100% successful. We have not had to deal with an instance of a developer backing out, or with a developer leaving a new eyesore for the residents to deal with, and we look at this as a successful policy to protect your quality of life. So with that being done and our attorney recommending this, obviously I'll be voting for it this evening.
Yeah, I just like to add that people were complaining that it would thwart commercial development in the town of Fishkill. Hasn't had no impact on it. All it's done is given the residents of Fishkill and the town board a tool to make sure if something's supposed to get done, it gets done. If it's abandoned, we can clean it up. And that's precisely what we've done. So I'd like to also mention Councilwoman Bardini was a part of that. She was on the board 2 years before I was here, and we've discussed getting this performance bond to avoid these things in the future. So I want to say thank you, Jackie, for being a part of that with me.
You got it.
Next up is privilege of the floor for agenda items, so anything regarding the agenda you may speak about. Ms. Daniele?
I will be quick.
Thank you.
So, just to verify, so there is no more free speech timer, we're leaving it the way it is?
Yes.
So people can speak. You know, I don't really have a problem if Mr.
Well,
Broccoli or
Louise,
any-
what people were confused was I never changed the rules. So the old rules that were in place at 3 minutes once in a meeting.
Yeah.
So they thought I was going back to that, which was
Well,
already the
that's because
rules.
That's what was in there, yeah.
So we're just codifying what we've been doing for the last 6 years.
Right, which I appreciate. You know, a lot of people talk for a long time. I don't mind it. I like to hear.
Well, sometimes it's good to let people speak because they give you information.
Yeah.
The gentleman gave me a nice piece of information, which I appreciate him
Right.
coming in for.
I don't, like I said, I have no problem. Like, people, he can speak as long as he wants. At one time, we had a meeting where everybody spoke a lot. That's what you're here for. That's what we're here for the government to listen and for us to be able to speak. So I appreciate that. And the performance bonds, I also agree. The hotel right next door, that was one of them that didn't do what they were supposed to do. They did all sorts of other things, and that was another example of it. So I'm glad that we have the performance bonds. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, items for special consideration. We got the first one. These utility rates, it's not the, I missed something?
Yeah, the vote for consent agenda.
Okay, I apologize. Thank you, Cooper. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda. I'll present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Cooper. Item for special consideration, the first one, bless you.
Thank you.
How did I miss that? Okay, gotcha. All right, next up is resolution for immediate review of electric delivery charges. It's not the electric that's the problem. It's like the 20,000 charge on the delivery charge that are killing us.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a resolution that we formally announce that
This is a
we,
memorial resolution.
yes, with the Public Service Commission to prioritize taxpayer affordability. Section 1, all whereas paragraphs incorporated herein are referenced set forth in full. Section 2, the Town Board of Town of Fishkill formally calls upon and urges New York State Public Service Commission to conduct a thorough and immediate review of electric delivery charges, rate increases, and cost recovery practices applicable to Central Hudson customers. Section 3, the Town Board calls upon the Public Service Commission to provide ratepayer affordability, demand greater transparency from Central Hudson, and require demonstrable cost containment and operational efficiency measured before approving any further rate increases. Section 4, the Town Board expressly opposes continued and automatic rate increases that shift rising operation, infrastructure, and administrative costs onto ratepayers without clear justification or adequate protection for rural communities. Section 5, the town supervisor hereby authorized and directed to submit a formal complaint, written comments, and supporting documents to the New York State Public Service Commission on behalf of the town and its resident objecting to the excessive rate, electric costs, and requesting regulatory intervention. Section 6, the town clerk is directed to transmit copies of this resolution to the New York State Public Service Commission, Central Hudson, the governor of the state of New York, members of the New York State Legislature, and the neighboring municipalities served by Central Hudson. Number 7, the board shall be effective immediately. So, Mr. Nugent, this means that the town clerk has to send this resolution to those following people in Section 6?
Yes.
Okay. I'll present that in a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion?
Okay.
I would just like to add to this first. I think it's a very good resolution. I recognize that there's not a lot that one town can do regarding this. This needs to be a state and even a federal initiative. But the reality that Supervisor Albert mentioned a couple minutes ago is exactly correct. It's not the cost of the electric. It's what they're charging to supply it to you. They're somehow managing to dip their hand into the cookie jar twice by charging you for the electricity and then charging you for the privilege of being able to receive it in the first place. And typically, it's the delivery charge which exceeds the actual utility charge by oftentimes a factor of 3 or even 4. This resolution doesn't go so far as to say it, because it's a binding resolution stating the opinions of the town board, and I'm only one person, but I'm going to state my opinion candidly here. It's legalized blackmail. It's legalized extortion, and it should be criminal. So I will, yes, be voting yes on this. And I think that we should and must tackle utility providers like Central Hudson and hold them accountable, because it is not on our backs, your customers, to pay for your stock buybacks and your holiday bonuses and your executive salary increases, which is exactly what our astronomically high costs are doing. So that's all I have to say on that. I'm sorry. Just wanted to get that off my chest.
Any other comments? Any other comments? I'll present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. The next one is a resolution authorizing the town board to accept an assignment of judgment in a litigation matter, ID 10451, whereas the town of Fishkill identified Louise Daniele in the action entitled Domenico Broccoli versus Louise Daniele, Supreme Court of the State of New York, Dutchess County, index number 2024-55953, and whereas a judgment was entered and said action on November 7th, 2025 in favor of Louise Daniele and against Domenico Broccoli and the principal amount of $11,514, together with interest of the statutory rate of November 5th, 2025, plus tax cost in the amount of $139, and whereas Louise Daniele has executed or will execute an assignment of judgment assigned the town of Fishkill all her right, title, and interest in the said judgment, all proceeds after, and whereas the town board desires to accept assignment of judgment to authorize the execution of the assignment on behalf of the town, and to authorize town legal counsel to take all necessary steps to enforce and collect upon the judgment for the benefit of the town. Now therefore be resolved that the town of Fishkill as follows. Section 1, all whereas clauses and set forth are hereby incorporated by reference as though fully set forth herein. Section 2, the town board hereby approves and accepts the assignment of judgment from Louise Daniele to the town of Fishkill relating to the judgment entered in Domenico Broccoli versus Louise Daniele, index number 2024-55953. Section 3, the town supervisor hereby authorized and directed to execute the final assignment of judgment and any related documents on behalf of the town of Fishkill. Section 4, town legal counsel will hereby authorize and direct to take any and all actions necessary to appropriate, to enforce, pursue, and collect upon any judgment on behalf of the town of Fishkill, including the commencement of any enforcement or supplementary proceedings. Section 5, the town supervisor, any officer, employee, or consultant directed by the town supervisor are hereby authorized to take all further actions necessary to carry out the intent and purposes of this resolution. Section 6, the resolution shall be effective immediately. I present that as a motion. Discussion first. Any discussion? We want he lost his case. We want our money as was directed by the court. He's not paying. So we're going to let Brian handle it. That's the gist of it.
Oh, yeah, no, you're hearing any objections from me?
Good?
Absolutely.
What are our chances of getting money?
Oh, we're going to get it.
Yeah, I think you have a good chance.
Very good, yeah.
But we'll be just assigning this right now first to the
Right.
town, and then we would, follow any normal execution options for a judgment. But
Okay.
we won't really know what's there until we start searching.
All right.
Exactly.
I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Jackie, any new or old business?
Enough today.
Greg?
No, not today.
Don?
No, nothing today.
Our next town board meeting is the 18th. We have no executive session. The meeting went a little less than 65 minutes, with the residents speaking for about 40 minutes. That's just to show my commitment to open government and let both sides have the floor. And I'll make a motion to adjourn. Can I have a second?
Second.
God bless our troops. Good night. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.